Welcome to the Formless Guide. Right now, we're going to pursue Kundalini rising activation. I'd like you to close your eyes. Let the breath settle into the belly. Beneath you, something ancient yet familiar stirs. It feels like a whisper, the spirit of that ancient fire within. You're not here to force, but you are here to listen, to encourage, and to grow the Kundalini as we rise through the chakras. At the base of your spine, I want you to visualize a serpent, and it's at rest. What have you inherited that no longer belongs to you? What fear have you mistaken for instinct? What does safety feel like in your body, not your mind? Who taught you what it means to survive, and what would it mean to thrive? Now, these questions are intended for focus upon the root chakra, Muladhara. This is the very foundation of all that you know right now, and the fear of the unknown that you are being presented with also at this moment, probably in other aspects of your life as well. This is the chakra we focus all of these fears into. Yes, the fear of uncertainty is real. So many things we are afraid of on a daily basis. The question is, are you willing to admit them and then surrender them? There's a fear of fear, and there's a fear of doubt. I want you to take time to contemplate upon these fears. And while you're doing this, I'd like you to remember, as you go through Muladhara, this fear exists from you. This fear exists because of you. That begins with that simple acceptance. Fear is an existence only known by you and how you experience life up to this moment. Shall we face these fears? Or shall we run from these fears? Possibly even worse, shall we deny that they even exist, creating delusion and delusion? Accept this phase. Accept the origin, which started from a place of uncertainty. When uncertainty came into your approach, this was the consequence. Now we're going to move on to the second chakra, the sacral chakra, which we call Svadhisthana. When we think of this chakra, I'd like you to visualize a river. Svadhisthana is often associated with the water element, so we're going to specifically visualize and adapt to this nature of water. Below the navel, the water now begins to stir. I want you to focus your attention in this location, as this is where your emotional side dwells, otherwise known as the source of life due to its sacral location. What emotion do you resist the most? What pleasure feels dangerous to you, and why? What have you created that you never claimed? What part of you longs to be touched, seen, felt, and heard? Where does your desire lead when you stop judging it? This brings us to the focal point of understanding guilt, the creation of guilt, of a feeling of such toxicity, or the simple feeling of regret. In life, emotions can rule 99% of the actions we do as human beings. Most of the actions are an emotional reaction, whether we choose to accept it or not. The question is, are you willing to let these emotions not be held, not be clung to, but rather become a part of your experience? Will you allow this side of yourself to become surrendered to the flow of life and its complexities, of these emotions, of these desires? What has made you become so cautious of yourself that you now can't explore passion, that elusive passion of life that you once had? I'd like you to contemplate upon this and understand Svadhisthana will only be activated once you accept and forgive whatever it is that occurred, that happened, or is happening. These things happen because it is the way of life. Chaos and order has always existed in equilibrium. It is rising above that is hard to do. Svadhisthana is about surrendering, and in that, rising. It is a complete reactivation. Now, I want to transition into the third chakra, Manipura, developing the willpower to persevere through these emotions, through these fears. In the belly, this fire awaits you. I'd like you to ask these questions to yourself. What power have you given away in order to feel or be accepted? What truth have you dimmed in order to keep peace? What would it mean to be unapologetically you? Who are you when no one is watching? And who do you become when you stop performing? Let these questions echo throughout the body as you're traveling from your past to your present, understanding all the moments, all the major events that have possibly forced you to believe you need to be less in order to feel like part of something. To be more specific, to feel more included in one's life's experience. Otherwise, you feel lonely. Otherwise, you question your self-worth, which all boils down to shame. This shameful feeling that you've built within yourself to an extent where it has hindered your light, hindered your true self. I can't imagine what that must have been like. Take a moment and really go through this. And every time the moment arises, I want you to breathe, specifically exhaling through your mouth as these emotions and feelings arise, so we can let them know you are now capable of change. You have the willpower to begin change. Now we move to the fourth chakra, Anahata, located in the heart. This center of your chest is a door. What love have you withheld from yourself? What grief have you buried beneath your smile? Who do you still carry in your heart, and why? What would forgiveness feel like if it didn't require forgetting? What truth does your heart whisper when no one is listening? In this stage, we examine the heart. We examine all the connections we've had in our life, all the connections we presently have in our life. And with those connections, we think about the feelings that came from within you at every connection, every flavor of love that arises from you because of each connection and the purpose they have served. The true essence of this is to understand that this love wasn't the idea to cling to. It was a connection of compassion, of a warm, embracing love. Something we often define as unconditional love. And the good news is, it came from within you. It was experienced by you. That is why it may either feel extremely great when you think about it, or it may have feelings of sadness, pain, or regret at its deepest sentiment. And these are natural occurrences. However, I'd like you to remember this experience happened because of you, because of your amazing ability to show compassion, to understand compassion, to care with compassion. In this practice, it is the time to activate that compassion. In turn, you will now have entered the phase of Anahata activation. Now we move on to Vishuddha, otherwise known as the throat chakra. We're going to focus at the throat, where the voice is now the passage. What words have you swallowed in order to be liked? What silence have you mistaken for strength? What truth aches to be spoken by you? Who would you become if you said what you really meant? And what does your voice sound like when it's free? With every question, we're going to go through the same examination of your past to your present. Simple moments to what is now perceived as big moments. Be it you're in your private time with yourself, with your friends, or you're at work, you're at school, wherever that place may be. Have you been vocalizing your truth? Have you been communicating your intention? Have you been allowing your true self to be expressed wholeheartedly? This throat chakra opens to those who are honest about themselves and to others. It is hindered by the masks that we've developed, some that we felt the need to hold on to. This is a time when we let go of these masks, because they no longer serve us. As we've learned in the previous chakras we activated, it has been about accepting your true self, the true intention. Now it is time we express that true self. Are you willing to be honest with yourself? Honest about the past and the present? Are you ready to wholeheartedly become you? and be okay with expressing that person? Are you ready for your true voice to be felt, to be heard, to be seen, and to be acknowledged by you? Sometimes we lie about our nature, and in those times, we need to learn to apply acceptance and compassion, because in that moment, when your true self was neglected, it means you didn't show it any true love. You completely separated it, and you said, "That's all I can give." And it hurt you more than it did the other person, and it stayed with you. This is the time to let it go. Accept that these masks existed, and now to express your true self. It is okay. It is no longer needed to wear these masks. It is time you express your authentic self. Now we move to the third eye, Ajna activation. Between the brows, there's going to be a vision that flickers. I'd like you to think about this. What illusion have you mistaken for clarity? What pattern repeats itself in your life? And what does it want to teach you? What do you know that you've been taught to forget? What dream keeps returning? And what part of you already knows the way? This third eye is activated due to the shedding of this illusion of separation, of things that has occurred in life that you have unconsciously or consciously separated for what was thought at the time to be the safest measure. Now is the time to open this chakra. I need you to first understand this. Within life, everything you experience has a bit of every flavor to it. Think of colors, a kaleidoscope of colors. Each individual has their own kaleidoscope of colors, but within these colors, there is one common thread, and that is the true self of every individual being through which you are connected. This is part of consciousness. You are connected in the emotions you feel. You're connected in the perspectives you may share, you may experience, you may feel. They are all one and the same when it boils down to their true essence. It's just that upon it, they have been placed so many categories that it has lost its true essence. I'd like you to visualize a mirror. I want you to think of this mirror now being cracked. And when that mirror is cracked, you begin to see segregation. Each shard now has its own distinct properties, has its own distinct outlook. But at the end of the day, that entire mirror began as one, and it is still a mirror. Its essential ingredient, glass, or even further, sand, is still consistent. It's just the angle has now changed. This is the truth for yourself. This is how Ajna flows through you. And when you begin to see these cracks of life, the experiences, the similarities, they are all existent within you. They all become known first from within you. The greater you understand yourself, the greater you understand others. And not only on a physical plane. This goes into your dreams, things you may feel that are odd to you, things you may feel you've experienced in dreams that have placed you in a state of discomfort, feelings of fear, guilt, shame, not being able to fully express yourself within those dreams. I want you to take the time to acknowledge that all of these things are part of your existence. Therefore, you are a crucial being in shedding realization. This realization is the focal point of Ajna. This heightened intuition is its successor. When we begin to understand the distortion that reality has created in order for you to begin to feel the idea of self, you are now bringing it back together into the mirror to now understand it has never been separate, but actually one and the same. It was made to look separate, but that is only of the physical layer, which you have now transcended. That is Ajna. Now, we head for the crown chakra, Sahasrara. Above the head, this sky now opens to you. What would it mean to surrender? Not to give up, but to give in. What part of you is already whole? What truth lives beyond words? What if awakening isn't something that you chase, but something that you remember? Sahasrara is a focal point of detachment. Understanding the attachment to individuality of self. In other words, there are times in life when we feel as though we are secluded or separated in how we experience life and how things for us are experienced, as well as how they can be perceived. Sometimes we can even be hot-headed or stubborn, ignorant. And the thing is, sometimes it's also done unconsciously because of the events that were suffered, which required a certain type of self to arise, be it survival, be it defense, be it a mask. However, this crown chakra you're now approaching is about letting go of that self, letting go of the need to prove yourself, and just being. This is an enlightenment stage without attaching yourself to every label, to every experience of life, as if it makes up who you are, as if it dictates your fate, as if it dictates the outcome of your life. It is the ability to experience and then to let go. Not to forget, but to appreciate it's happening in your life. Things may happen that were amazing, that were bad, some that were in between, but they are not meant to be measured or compared. They were all there, and they must be let go of at the end of the day, at the end of your life, at the end of its time. However, your love has now gone beyond physicality. It is an unconditional love that is happening all the time. It is a consequence of you. So within that, understand that the attachment to self is the hindrance to the true self that is you, to the true self that can experience life at its pinnacle without worry, without fear, without shame, without guilt, jealousy, or hate, without needing to lie to yourself or to others, without needing to create a delusion because of how difficult, scary, or perceivably dark life can be. I want you to allow yourself to be free, have these experiences without making them or needing for them to be stuck as part of who you are. Simply a guiding moment in the experience that is your life. I want to come to a close now. I'd like you to take your time and let your breath come to a soften. Let the questions that we went through echo. Remember, you are not here to answer. Rather, you are here to awaken and to blossom. This serpent that rises from your ground now to the crown of your head has risen not by force, but with the permission that you have given it throughout this practice. Each chakra has now been released, opened, in order for more of your true self to be experienced. Having these heightened layers of consciousness become readily available to you. Sometimes they may not work on the first try, but take this as a process. Take this as a hint into something that will lead you into even greater results. And for those that have brought fruition to this, congratulations on another step ahead in creating a better, healthier, immersive, enjoyable life for yourself. This is what Kundalini rising activation has now brought to your soul, to your spirit, to your body, and to your awareness. This is your Formless guide, signing off.